Hello, it's Mark Attwood here. Yes, I have bed hair. I just had a nap because I had a really deep tissue massage today. But I had obligations to record shows, so here I am. Before I start this show, as usual, all links are in the description below. Please get on the email list, most important. I've also got a free guide that I'm going to talk about today. Now, today I am going to talk about a subject that I haven't talked about much over the last year, but when I started this show, I did talk about crypto, I talked about gold and silver, I talked about money. I created a course for you guys called How to Monetize What's Already in Your Head, Create a New Income Stream, and Become More Sovereign Quickly. Link to the free webinar for that course is also below this video. 50 hours of video content. And if you can't afford it, it's free. All right. We have to talk about money because we live in a world where money is still important. It's obvious to me there is a new financial system coming. I don't go on about the QFS. I don't go on about the RV. It's not my style. It's not my thing. Plus, I only talk about things that I know things about. And one thing that I do and fully understand is the value of precious metals, gold and silver in particular. If you sign up to my email list, one of the things I send you for free is a book called The Creature from Jekyll Island, which was written by G. Edward Griffin about 50 years ago, which tells the true story of the birth of the Federal Reserve, which is not federal at all, and is a private banking system, which, and I studied economics for 5 years, and nobody ever mentioned the fractional reserve banking system. And it's one of the key things to understand that money has been used as a tool of enslavement. Everything to do with money is fraudulent. It's just the way it is. It's our belief in money that allows it to continue. But a blind man on a galloping horse looking for a black cat in a dark room could easily spot that there is a massive financial collapse coming. The writing is on the wall. There's 180 banks currently. What is the date? It's 22nd of May, 2023. There are 180 banks currently on the verge of collapse in America alone. The whole system has been under control for a number of years now, in my opinion. You could disagree with me. And if you don't like talking about money, don't watch this video. Go somewhere else. I don't want negative comments downstairs. Just watch this because you're going to learn something. Hopefully, you're going to learn something. Precious metals have been manipulated in terms of their value over the years. The dollar and the pound and everything else stopped being backed by gold. In the case of the pound, I think it was Winston Churchill in 1926 when he was Chancellor of the Exchequer, was manipulating the gold standard. Nixon took America off the gold standard in, I think it was 71 or 73. And it's just paper. It literally, they're IOUs, and they can print as many as they want. And this is why one of the memes I've often put up on my social media channels is the same people that are asking you to pay taxes are the same people that control the printing of the money supply. So why do you need to pay taxes? I'll leave you a second to think about that. Have you thought about it? Does it make any sense, does it? So why is gold and silver important? Well, because if you go back, I remember watching a Michael Tellinger video from 5, maybe 10 years ago, and he said that the scriptures, the ancient scriptures, all have 3 things in common: serpents, slavery, and gold. Those 3 things are in every ancient text, from the Sumerian tablets to the Bible to everything else. And if you follow that work of Michael's and the Sumerian tablets and Sitchin's interpretation of those, you maybe know the story that the Anunnaki came here to get the gold and genetically modified humans to be the miners of that gold, which is what Michael Tellinger found with all those cities down in South Africa that are hidden in the undergrowth. So it's something we have to pay attention to, and whether you like it or not, whatever's going to happen, nobody actually knows what's going to happen with this financial reset. You've got the Klaus Schwab version, which is central digital bank currencies, which are being rolled out worldwide right now. And you're either going to be the kind of person that doesn't give a shit, doesn't care, and you're on the wrong channel if that's the case, or you think it's part of the Great Reset, where you has nothing and you will be happy. I don't think that's going to happen. Or it's going to be a version of Jasara, which is where I'm at. And I can see people typing angrily beneath already, but that's where I think we're at, because I think that removing that old system of money is something that's just had to happen. It had to happen, and it's a big operation, almost as big as clearing out the dumbs, which has been going on for a very long time. Especially if you watch my last video of Janine, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So during this journey, I have talked about gold and silver before, and I have pulled in people who know more than me about it. And one thing that I did do, I think it was about 18 months ago, is I did create a free guide which kind of explained the easy way to invest in God's money, gold and silver, which kind of explains who I am and what it's all about. And this is just me sharing my knowledge about it and why, I listed it all out. I've not looked at this in a while, actually. If you can, the common problems with buying gold and silver in 21. God, have I been doing it this long? You can't buy incrementally like you can with crypto. You don't know who to trust when you do buy it. It's hard to get the value of what you do buy appraised quickly and cheaply and accurately. It's even harder to cash it in when you do get it appraised if you need to. It's super risky to have it stored in anywhere but in your own possession. It's hard to use gold and silver to save regularly for your future and the future of your family. It's hard to know which gold and silver coins are the most collectible and in demand. It's hard to get it delivered to your home quickly and safely. It's hard to know which coins are the most tax efficient or even tax-free, and the banks hate it when you switch to gold and silver. I know, although I wrote this in 21, gold and silver are still massively undervalued right now. So if you have any spare money whatsoever, savings or anything, if it's in the bank, it's going down. It's as simple as that. Interest rates are up, your money is going, prices are going up, your money is going down. If it sits in the bank, it's going down. If you've got no money whatsoever, don't watch this video. But if you have some, pay attention, because this is very interesting. Because I got involved with something about 2 years ago, because I had a chat with Dr. Christiane Northrup, and she was introduced to me by some friends called Mark and Danielle, who I'm going to introduce to you now. Hi guys, how you doing?
Good. How are you,
Mark?
Well, yeah, I'm still waking up from the nap, but doing that introduction, I now see how long I've been doing this show. I started when I was 16. I'm now 74, so it's been a long time. This war's been going on a long time. But you guys, I've known you for a couple of years now, and you took the decision, a clear decision 2 years ago, or maybe 3 years ago, that gold and silver are the way forward in terms of not only what you should be focusing on for your own family's future and wealth, but also as a business yourself. Could you explain how you came to that decision and what your experience has been like in the last 2 years for everybody?
Sure. First of all, I just want to say I love the intro to your podcast, and we were cracking up listening to you. We think the world of you.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, so
that's nice to hear. That's nice to hear, because somebody just slagged me off on Telegram today, and whenever that happens, I go, "Oh God!" It's like, but there you go. It's part.
Don't listen to the haters. Don't listen to the haters.
I know it's not easy.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, I always like to say this. We were just like probably 99% of the population in 2020. We never thought about gold and silver prior to 2020. Never even crossed our minds that we should have it. But when we were given the gift, because I like to see the gift in everything, of being locked down in our homes, we decided to use that time to start to just learn, research, educate ourselves, because we realized the truth was not coming in through the airwaves, right? So we had to seek out people like you to find truth. And one of the people that we follow is named Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
Right? Wrote the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, most recently Fake, which is an awesome book. And he kept literally daily posting buy gold and buy silver, buy gold and buy silver. And that's really why we decided to do it, because we're like, this guy's successful. He knows what he's talking about. Maybe we should listen. So we looked at our bank account. We had an interest-bearing account that we were paying more in fees than we were earning. So we're like, maybe we should take that savings and turn that into gold and silver. And like everyone, right, unless you've had a grandparent or somebody directing you, we didn't know the first place to begin. I'm like, do you buy it at the bank? Like, where do you even buy it? How do you know you're not being taken advantage of? What do you get? So we kind of went in blindly on our first purchase, went to a local dealer. And while we got legitimate metals. We didn't get a choice. It was all chosen for us. So we always say we walked in clueless, walked out clueless, but now we had gold and silver. So it's like, now what? 6 months after that first purchase, we were introduced to this membership that we're here to talk about. And we took a look at it. And for us, it was like, where was this? Because one of my favorite things, Mark, that comes with it is an education platform. So you can be fully educated, so you cannot be taken advantage of, and you can be confident as you move forward in your gold and silver, buying what you need based on what your goals are. And by the way, everything that dealer sold us in that first purchase, knowing what we know now, we would have said no to. So I'll kind of hand it over to you if you want to just take it from there, Mark.
Before you jump in, I just want to explain to the viewers, because if you guys watching this don't know, my background before all this started, apart from RAF, poetry, comedy, theatre, and all of that stuff, when I got into business, I became a digital marketer. I ended up writing a couple of books on the subject. So I built a large business in the UK. And, I'm a working class kid who never had any business background. Nobody in my family ever had any business background or any higher education background. So I had to teach myself, and I ended up running courses, writing books on internet marketing and business. And I've been extremely successful in those areas for a number of decades. But I made a huge amount of mistakes on the way. But one of the things I always did was I studied other people that were more successful. I think that's part of why I do the channel the way I do it. I bring in other people that know more than me or have more time than me to know something. And you brought up somebody very interesting there, because one of the fundamental books, there's a few fundamental books I think of that changed my attitude towards making money, because loads of people have poverty consciousness. That's why I've already told the people who are not interested in talking about money to bugger off, because I just can't be bothered with that stuff, because I've been through years of this myself. I had to teach myself as much about how money works, how to have the right attitude towards it, how to have the right mindset, how to understand how the rich teach their kids. And one of the most powerful books anybody could ever read is the one that you just mentioned, which is here by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, What the Rich Teach Their Kids About Money That the Poor and Middle Class Do Not. And that always appealed to me at the time because of that title, What the Rich Teach Their Kids About Money That the Poor Do Not, because nobody ever taught me anything about money, because everybody in my family lived week to week, paycheck to paycheck. In fact, we were so poor when I was a kid, if there was a knock at the door, I'd have to run upstairs and hide with my mum behind the bed, because somebody would inevitably be coming around to collect for something she might have bought out of a catalogue or something. So that's my background and that's my attitude towards it. So I'm really glad you brought Robert Kiyosaki up, because I remember reading in that book when he became friends in Hawaii with a kid that had a rich dad, basically, and he just used to hang around and then he was picking stuff up. And once I understood, for example, that a mortgage is a liability and that owning a house is a liability in the mortgage system, that was really a big moment for me. And that was about 25 to 30 years ago. I don't know when I first read it. So I'm sorry to give that waffle there and interrupting you, Mark, but I think it's important for the viewers to understand where I'm coming from with this, because I've studied this a lot, right? And I did a degree in economics. And like I said, nobody ever mentioned the fractional reserve banking system. You've got people in higher education. You've got people talking about economics on TV who have PhDs in economics that don't even understand what money really is. So that's just to nail that on. Over to you, Mark.
All right. And that being said, I'm going to give our disclaimer that we always want to give anyway, that we're not tax experts. We're not financial advisors. We're not here to give you any advice. We're not here to predict what precious metals are going to do. And anything what happens with precious metals obviously is going to be determined by a lot of other factors. And so we want people to basically understand and get the education like you've gotten, Mark. And that's part of what this membership has entailed, as Danielle had mentioned, because I didn't know any of this stuff a couple of years ago. I was just basically, hey, cash is king. And the thing is,
cash is king at the moment, because they're trying to turn everything into beep, beep, digital, everything, track. So in that way, in that respect, cash
In that
is
respect, it is.
the last bastion of freedom, but really behind that and the true bastion of freedom is precious metals.
And now I agree with that, but in the idea when people are hoarding cash, it's going to backfire at some point because, and I'm not saying this with any predictions, but we can learn historically. Look at what happened with Venezuela, and we're the world's reserve currency here. And right now, you know, if you listen to some of these people who've really got a lot of knowledge out there, none of it's being reported on mainstream media. You've got the BRICS nations that are putting together not only an infrastructure program, but an entire thing built around military and also built around a new money system. And you're talking, you've got 70 to 80% of the world's population starting to fall within that category. And I think there's a lot of arrogance from people here in the States, for example, that just seem to think, oh, well, it's always going to be the same. It's never going to change. It's just temporary inflation, you know. And again, this has got us to really start thinking we need to do something. And that's when gold and silver just seem to always make sense because every country around the world respects it. Every country is now building their own economic systems around gold being backed as the thing that's going to be solid for it. And the same thing with what's happening with silver, and that you're talking about, it's industrial metal. It doesn't have that royalty that gold does, but it's something everybody needs.
Yeah, you know, you can see, BRICS, for you guys watching, if you've never heard of it, is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. It's been going on for over 10 years, and it's a completely other financial system outside of the, as Mark said, that the petrodollar is the which was really started from the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1946, as far as I understand, where all the countries agreed to use the dollar as the main thing. But that is definitely shifting. And only 2 days ago, Saudi Arabia is joining BRICS. So this transition is 100% happening in front of your eyes if you have the eyes to see. So, you know, the dollar is effed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the main objective that I think if anybody just goes and looks at it, again, I'm giving you my opinion, is that they're driving us to a central banking digital currency system where they can control everything. They can control what we eat. They can control what we spend our money on. They can control what our thoughts are and our feelings, because if they don't like what you're saying.
I can't control this.
Yeah. Well, what we're seeing in Canada right now, even today, still happening, are that there are people who supported the Freedom Convoy, single moms who still have not been able to get their bank account activated again. It's just a form of tyranny, in my personal opinion. And the best thing people can do is do anything they can to protect their assets. And their assets are strongest, in my personal opinion, again, in gold and silver. We just got this package today, and I'm going to open it up, if you don't mind, because this is just something that we just ordered. And from this membership just a couple of days ago. And these are handy little things. So let me open them up in front of everybody. Ooh, what are these? Oh, these are our coins.
So what you know, Mark, and what we share when we invite people to learn more is there is a defensive approach in gold and silver, and there's an offensive approach. We had no idea. I didn't know you could diversify in gold and silver. This is the offensive approach, and this is one of the newest exclusive coins created by our company called the Nazca lines, which are only visible from airplanes, and they are thousands of years old, correct?
Yes.
I know. That's a whole other video.
It's a whole other video. It is. But anyway, it's so fun when FedEx.
But we actually ordered some what are called combi bars, and I'm expecting those as well. So that's what I thought those were. Combi bars they're little 10-ounce or 10-gram bars, and we get 10 of them, and they break off like a candy bar. And so those little things that we got on our e-commerce page that each one of us are given as part of this membership, we're able to go in and get that. And that's a great thing for everything starts going south. I break off a little piece, and now I can go buy some food or whatever it might be. So just another advantage.
Well, we'll go into that in more detail in a sec, but just with the viewers, I think it was August last year, in Ireland, where I am, the Bank of Ireland changed their terms and conditions to allow them to do something pretty nasty, which I just want to make sure everybody's aware of it. and this is what's known as the bail-in, and this happened in Cyprus a while ago, in 2012, 11 years ago, when Cyprus became the 5th government to request a bailout from the Eurozone after losing access to international capital markets. But instead of taking money, they took their own customers' money from their bank accounts. So I think there's a protection. I think it's 75,000 euros in Europe. If you've got more than that, they can just take what they want. But they can now, they change the terms and conditions. It's worth you guys going to check your bank's terms and conditions to see if they have the rights. And there's a meme I saw this morning, and I think I posted it on Telegram or yesterday of in the UK, if you want to take cash out more than £200, they give you a 21-page form that you have to fill in to tell them what you're doing with your own money, like you're a criminal. And this is it. This is the thing, everybody. Now, personally, I think all of this is a movie, and it's just to show you, and it's going to be horrible. There's going to be a big crash. There's going to be a time where everybody's broke, or it looks like we are. And I think the human race has to see that. That's because I'm an apocalyptimist. Remember that. So don't say that I promise that's going to happen. It's just that's my feeling of what's going to happen based upon 30 years of research and all my intuition and everything else. But I'm also pragmatic, and this is why I like the thing that Mark and Danielle are talking about, because it's extremely easy and it's pragmatic to have a percentage of what you're doing in this club that they're talking about. And I like this idea of the offensive and the defensive way of doing it, because the offensive sounds like I've just told somebody to fuck off because their hair looks shit. The offensive way is in these collectible coins, which I know Mark loves. These, it looks like you're getting into them now, Danielle, as well. Are you?
I am. I do love them, but he's a little bit more crazy about them than I am.
I'll show you this. I'll show you this one beautiful one and see if you can guess who this is.
Let me just make that larger for everyone.
Trying to get good lighting here.
Is that
down? Go
is
down.
that Caesar?
It's actually David.
David, as in David and Goliath.
Yes, as in David versus Goliath.
Well, that's what we are.
Yes, we are.
So this whole collectibles thing, I didn't understand it, but there is like the same as people will pay 100 grand for a Spider-Man comic. It's the same with these collectibles. They get the limited edition, they get issued, and people want them, and the demand for those, the value of those, goes up based upon the market. And I think within your club, this club, you can scan your coins onto a website and understand the real-time market value of those and what the last one sold for, and they go up way beyond the price of the actual silver or the gold that's there because of the way that they're made, right?
Yeah, I mean, no one can predict what any coins are going to do forward or backward, but I can tell you personally what our collective stack has done has gone up 31+% in value, and that is based, as you said, not upon speculation, but upon people actually purchasing coins at that value. And so that's raised that up for us. And, you know, it's nice seeing that because, you know, even if it was just even if it just stayed even in terms of the value we put in, we're taking our money out of paper currency and we're putting them into assets that tend to appreciate over time and maintain their purchasing power.
So you can take the same amount of cash, and in a year, instead of it being 10% worth 10% less, it's then worth 31% more.
Yeah. I mean, I used to think, man, imagine if we went out and buried like $100,000 in the ground, we could dig it up later and we have all that money. That'd be worth like way down today. But imagine if you did that with gold or silver, and you bought it at the price of whenever you did that, and you buried it in the ground, you dug it back up, and
we know stories.
We do know stories of people who've gone out there and bought large swaths of land using their savings of gold that they had actually established. And it was back when it was at the same price, like right around what silver's at, actually a little bit higher, but just the exponential growth of where gold went over that time span is something that gives you optimism to feel that, hey, look at where silver's at. Silver's way undervalued when it's compared to.
It's only a generation or so ago that people really understood the gold and silver thing. I mean, there are people I know in Ireland who've had gold jewelry passed to them by their grandmother, and that's how they passed on wealth, avoiding the government. this is not, you know, in certain cultures, gold, you know, is absolutely critical to family wealth. It's tends to be white Westerners that have lost that understanding, and that started really back in 1931. Was it FDR told everybody they had to hand in their gold and silver after the Great Crash, which we know now was cabal instigated, and that's why they've been trying to take that and your guns, your gold and silver. They want everything off you. They've been at it a long time. This sub market is the collectible coin side of it, which is the thing that I found interesting when I was speaking to Christian Northrup. But it does bring up a question, and one of the questions I've had over the years from people who have spoken to me about this is like, how do you secure that? And, you know, because you're responsible for it. What if you store it in a safe and you forget your safe number? What if you put it in the garden and forget you put it there? What if somebody comes around and just nicks it? I mean, how do you deal with that side of it?
Well, we keep most of what we get in terms of our collectibles in a private vault that's not on premises. We have a small amount that we use here just to show people, but most of it we don't keep here. And that you pay a little extra. We pay independently for that, but it's nice to have that peace of mind and know that you know, it's safe and secure. As far as just locally, just, I don't know, look up the different things you do. Like we have home protection that we have for our place, even though we don't have a lot here. It's still something.
I think you should tell them about our Sound Money wallet.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, because that is.
And that's a good point, though, because there's a lot of people are always saying, though, I want my silver, I want my gold at home, I want it in my hands. You know, you got to worry about it when it's sitting there like that, because if you leave home, it's like, oh, geez, how safe is it there? And that's why, you know, we went out the extra step and just got our own private storage. But for those people who want to be able to get gold and silver and keep it simple, number one, you get the education through this membership. But secondly, there's the digital wallet. The first of its kind in the world.
Probably the most powerful part of the membership.
Backed 100% by physical metals. Now, this is going to be important for everybody to know. Anytime you buy anything, whether it's $1 or $100 or $1 million or whatever, physical metals are actually set aside to cover your purchase. And the company keeps 105 to 110% of all of the metals that are purchased in private vaults. Very, very, very secure under highest levels of military protection and fully insured. And so we keep a good amount of ours that we bought in the Sound Money wallet there. If we want to have them sent to us, we can. So can you. Anybody out there can. But we prefer to keep it there because right now in the wallet, there's just so many more protections. And, you know, we've got, I mean, it's just, let's just put it this way. If we wake up in the middle of the night and I want to go and buy $5 worth of gold, I can do that with a touch of a button. If I want to liquidate and I need to get it back to cash, I can do it with a touch of a button. And boom, I can get it back.
And does that go on a card that you can then use like a normal card, like a Visa or something?
They have, for our international market, they have what's called a pay quicker card that you can actually transfer the funds onto, but it's all stored within this digital wallet, and you have it in cash, you have it in gold, and you have it in silver. So it'll give you the balance in each. It'll tell you how many ounces of gold and silver you have. Usually it's fractional amounts, because if you put in $10, you're going to get a fraction of an ounce, but you can actually track it. And so it's amazing.
It's just as easy as an online banking system, right?
Yeah, except it's stored in private vault web, which has a lot more protections.
Yeah, way more protections. And I just want to say this too, Mark, because you mentioned at the beginning that poverty mindset that so many people have, right? They don't think that either they're worthy or that they can create abundance in their lives. And I think that was obviously by design, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Even the fact that they didn't teach us about gold and silver. I was a teacher, and when I learned what I learned here, I'm like, why don't they start the minute kids go into school teaching about gold and silver?
Oh no, you know why?
Yeah, to keep us in the debt enslavement system.
Yeah.
But this is what I want to say to maybe the viewers who are like, you know, man, you heard Mark say, if you have $1, you can start buying gold and silver. But one of the things that our membership also does is they teach disciplined savings. Not only weren't we taught about gold and silver, but we were never taught to save either, right? And that's why we have a world of people living in debt, just getting by. We have never saved more money in our lives than we have in the last 2.5 years with this membership. And had we not taken part in this, we wouldn't be saying that right now.
Well, I've got 5 kids, as you probably remember. And when they were born, first one was born 18 years ago, I took out a thing that the government was pushing in the UK at the time. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Child savings account, child CSA, something like that. And they gave you an incentive, like £150 voucher to get going. And I thought, well, this is a really good, for me, this is like, when it gets to 18, I want to hand a bunch of money over and say, right, you need a house, a car, whatever. There you go. And I saved it. And when it came to cash in my eldest son's or hand it over to him, I wasn't really shocked by how much it hadn't gone up. 20 years ago, I thought, yeah, that's going to be worth X amount. But when I got there, I was like, it's gone up, down like a horse knickers. And then it's just like, it's okay. It's up a bit, right? It's up a bit, but at least I saved it for him. But when I joined this, I switched everything for my other 4 kids into gold and silver, and there's a number of it. Well, firstly, it's like 6 years before my youngest are going to be 18. And I think in the next 6 years, huge things are going to happen. What is it per ounce at the moment with silver? $30 or something?
The spot price is up around, I haven't checked it recently.
No, the spot price is like 24, but
24.
there are premiums on all the metals.
Yeah.
And the premium on Eagles right now it's up there.
Yeah, but there is talk, and that's all it is. It's talk, but there is talk on the internet from people that I think know more than me, that silver, the real price of silver, it could be $1,000 to $10,000 per ounce.
I've heard the same.
Right. Yeah. I'm not saying that's not going to happen, but it does make sense when you understand how controlled and manipulated these markets have been. If you understand that, I think when they cleaned out the Vatican, I think it was 7 miles of tunnels full of gold. And I've long known about the gold in the Philippines. We're talking about huge amounts of gold and silver and manipulated prices over at least a century. And that is going to, whichever way you look at it, whatever, even if you don't believe any of the things that I just said, and you think that's just crazy conspiracy stuff, it isn't. But if you think that, fine. Just go back and look at the price of gold and silver over the last 100 years, 200 years. I mean, even one of the most pragmatic men I ever met about 20 years ago, he was buying silver off eBay. And I was like, why are you collecting all this? He was buying silver ring, anything silver he could get his hands on. He said, because I get it all tax-free on eBay, and then I put it in this vault, and because I know what's going to happen. And this guy created software for the stock exchange in New York. And I was like, oh, I should be doing that. The reason I didn't really do that, because I don't give a crap enough about money to do that. I've got a very laissez-faire attitude towards it. But when you've got kids and you've got a future to think about, it's pragmatic to at least do something with it. So I'm waffling again. Carry on.
No, I agree
100%. I think it's, I think right now, I think the most important thing, because I don't like to, and like you, I agree. I think that things are very manipulated right now. That's why I don't like to predict where it's going to go, because if we looked at where it really should be, it'd be in a much different place right now. But I think that once people get that knowledge and they just start seeing this and they start getting their hands on it, and I think there's a window we have right now where, I mean, I love it being down. Because that means we can get more of it, and I want it to stay down longer. And that's what I think a lot of people hopefully will understand. The more that we can get our hands on, the better it's going to be. And so this is the best way that people can do it. Getting the word out and getting the knowledge out to people is so important, because there's going to be a lot of people, if just, again, historically taking a look, like you've said, Mark, looking at history, looking down at some of these countries of which their fiat money has collapsed. It's not a pretty picture. And we can't just sit there and say, it's never happened in our lifetime. It's not going to happen again. I mean, that's sticking our head in the sand, and that's a very vulnerable place to be. So,
and I'll just add on that note, what we love is, now that we understand gold and silver, for me, it is sovereignty, right? This is how we will find our freedom. We are filled with hope. No matter what's going on in the outside world, we feel safe, we feel secure, we're sleeping well at night because we are preparing. And as you mentioned, we can wait. I've talked to so many people, I'm waiting for Jassara. well, that's no different than waiting for welfare, right? It's waiting for the handouts. We need to take action. If we want to secure our freedoms and our sovereignty, we need to be in action mode. And this is just a great way to take care of at least the financial component of our sovereignty.
Well, what you just said there is part of poverty mindset. You know, I did a video a couple of years ago, basically saying to people that were going, the RV is going to happen tomorrow. XRP is going to be worth 10,000 quid tomorrow. And, you know, I had a few conversations with people that were in debt, right? They put themselves in debt in order to get XRP, right? Which is a cryptocurrency. If you're watching this, it's a cryptocurrency that is highly likely to be the replacement for the SWIFT system, which is a big instrument of the cabal's financial control over the world. I believe XRP has replaced it a couple of years ago, but that's just my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor. Get some XRP if you can. But this guy got into debt, and XRP was worth at the time 90 cents, and he had $30,000 worth, and he was in debt $30,000. And he asked me advice. He said, well, what should I do? I said, sell the XRP, get out of debt, and then build your business, make a profit, and then buy some more XRP. And if he'd done exactly what I told him to do, he'd have 3 times the XRP that he had a year ago, because XRP went down to 30 cents. And during that time, he could have paid off his debt, built his business up, went and bought the same amount of XRP, but it worth, well, the same dollar amount. No, for the same dollar amount, he'd have got 3 times as much, because it was a third the price. But he didn't listen to me, and then he got wiped out. And that I say exactly the same thing. That's why I ended up doing the course. The course I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Go, if you've not heard of it, go and watch the free webinar, and you will find out all about it. It's incredibly important that you take control of your own wealth, health, happiness, everything, and just cut through all the crap. Now, the club that we're all involved with, it does take a little bit of explaining. I remember when I first came across it, I didn't quite get my head around it, and we did do a number of webinars. So for you guys, we're going to waffle on a long show. I've put the free guide, which is tmas.tv. TMAS, short for the Mark Attwood Show, for those that want to know why that is, that .tv/God's Money, all lowercase. I'll put the link below the description. You go to that page, you sign up, and we'll email you how to get hold of Mark and Danielle, how to go and get involved with a live Zoom calls with you guys, where you can ask any questions you want about what the system is, how it works, how it benefits you, how you can earn money out of it by recommending it to other people. It's as simple as that. And also I break down other things. There are other ways of, you know, I'm very much about mitigating circumstances. So I've got a wardrobe full of bottled water, for example, just in case. I wouldn't call myself a prepper, but I've got that just in case. I've got a generator that's still in its box, just in case, you know, that cost me 500 quid. That's my approach. And I think it's the same with gold, silver, crypto, setting up your own business. Just stop relying upon the state or but that's what this is all about. Anything you want to add, guys?
I'll just say that, you know, I think it's so important that get the word out like you're doing right now, that people be proactive. Don't wait. Don't be reactive. Reactive is when you just kind of are thinking, oh, you know, everything's going to be great. But even being proactive, even if everything stays as is, you're still just securing your assets by getting them in the hands of gold and silver. And doing it without education still leaves you a little bit powerless. That's why the education component, so many other benefits that come along with this, we haven't even gotten into.
The community. The community is amazing.
That's
you heard
intangible right there.
Mark talk about Dr. Christiane Northrup. We've got an amazing, like-minded, freedom-loving community here that we get to empower each other. You know, just the relationships are amazing. And I will say this too, if you are watching and you're thinking, could this be a good fit? Just know when you come on and we share this with you, there's no pressure, right? You will know if it resonates with you. And if it does, we're going to help you every step of the way.
Yeah. And if it doesn't, don't do it. It's, you know, nobody's got a gun to your head. I just want to check, you know, this, I've been working with these guys for a couple of years. They're the salt of the earth. They're brilliant people. And everybody that I've met in it is amazing. And, I want to thank you for your time today. I'm running a little bit late and I've got another show to do, but I'm going to wish you all the best and I'll see you soon.
Sounds
good. Thank you so much. Nice seeing you, Mark. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers, guys. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.